Hello guys and welcome back. Let's continue where we left off in the last video. In the meantime, I fixed the move, the shimmy left almost in the right one, which one of them was kind of messed up. So now we can move both ways. And one thing you may notice is there's a kind of, you can see this jump up and down in the screen of the camera, and I think we need to fix this. So one way to fix this is to go to the animation blueprint and where we set the climb direction, and this goes right into the climb direction. So this is basically just going to set into maximum speed all the time. So we want to kind of ease into this by using an interp 2, and this one is going to go, the return is going to be this one, and the climb direction is going to be the target we want to go to, and the current one is going to be what we have right now, and the delta time is going to get delta seconds. Delta seconds. Yeah, and the interp speed, I think 20 is going to be okay. It's going to be fairly quick as an interp. So let's test this out. So now we have a, yeah, we got rid of that jump in the camera, so it's kind of smooth now. Okay, you can play around with this. Okay. Anyway, let's continue and add on the last bit for a while, because I need to take a little break and do some real life stuff. So that will be some time in between this video and the next one, I believe. Unless I find some free time for this. Okay. The animation you want to use this time is the climb to crouch. This one I point at here, braced hang to crouch. I've covered this already in another video, but for this climbing animation, which is a bit more complex, we need to take into a few more other things into account. So as before, download this one in normal FBX and get it into Maya. So just make a new scene, and I already downloaded it, and so I'll just import it. Where is it? Here it is. Okay, so here we have our guy hanging, and let's see, how many frames do we have? We have 34 frames. I actually remember that. Anyway, let's add the root. And 3. What happened? Let's do that again. 3, 0, 0, and this happens sometimes. This is great. Okay, sorry about that. Pick him and press P, and make sure to change the name from joint 1 to root. Okay, so here comes all the fun stuff, and I hope I will be able to explain it. But anyway, one thing which should be fairly easy to understand is that the distance here we have from the hip to the root needs to begin with to be 96. As you can see now, he's gonna make that fairly long. So that's one thing. And also, if we zoom out a little bit, there's gonna be some point where he's gonna land. So it's gonna be around somewhere here. We want to look at this bone here, or this joint, when that's gonna land on the imaginary ledge up here. Okay, so when that keyframe happens, we come to that keyframe, we want to make sure that at this point, this distance is going to be, so we want to carry the capsule up and then put it at his feet. That's basically what we want to do. So we kind of need to construct something which doesn't really exist right now, and Since the beginning is going to be 96 and he's going to be in a crouch state, so 96 is going to be a root down here, which would effectively put him through the ground, and we need to figure out a way to find this position here. And I tried by clicking on this one, and see I don't have any translate C because all the movement is happening on the rotates, which are kind of nice actually. But that also means that I have to kind of experiment my way out of this. But let's take one thing at a time and start by opening up the animation graph editor, and then we will probably be able to see at that which point we need to do something. So let's see, the translate C, that's a big bad wolf. Okay, so you can see here in the animation graph that there's a kind of a break on the curve, and I think if we just move around here, we can see that around frame 29, that's where the top is, and then the hip is gonna go down, but the feet is also is gonna be staying. So up until frame 29, 28, I think, we can safely just copy these values to our root. Let's see, is that correct? So yeah, well, for now let's just copy everything to the root. See what this does. Shit, did something wrong. Copy everything from the root and make sure we put the cursor at the beginning and put it in here. So now we have a copy of the translate C here on the root. So now we have something, but this is obviously moving him way too high up in the air. So this is where the collision capsule is going to be, down here. So we need to adjust this. So and we saw that it's at this point, this is the top position. So I think what we can do, and I'm not entirely sure if this is a good way to do it, but let's try this out. Is that we are going to get this beginning here. Oh shit! I selected something on the other side, didn't I? Shift mark, shift mark, shift mark, and shift mark. Okay, so this is the route we are on, and let's take all these and we want to move them upwards. We do that. No, actually we don't. Let's see, this one needs to move. Okay, yeah. Okay, I see. We need this distance, the original distance from the hip. That's what we want to do something with. Okay, this is really hard to explain because I can't really wrap my head around it myself. Well, I'm trying. Okay, so we went to the hip instead and marked up everything up until frame. Oh, I did not do that. No, stop doing that. Shit, I need to make that selection again. Okay, so everything up to frame, I'm not sure if it's 28, 29, 28 I think it is. And I think we are gonna do something like flatten this one out. Yeah. I think I missed a node. Let's take this up and select this and just make sure it's all flat. Up. something like this, I think. So now it's kind of flat. So what we have now is a steady motion upwards. The root is moving upwards, and obviously the distance here is way too high, but let's fix that. So let's bring this one down somewhat, and you could just experiment your way out of this, but I found a different way to do this actually, which involved a different animation. So I went to Mixamo and found one called, I think it was Stand. Or maybe it wasn't. Oh yeah, this one, this first one that pops up. You can download that one, and and if you download this one, I won't show this, otherwise it's going to be too long. But you want to take this first frame that you have here, and you want to take the distance that the hip bone is to the bottom and record that. Remember that, note that down, because I'm going to also use this animation afterwards. So this one is 42. Oops, sorry. Okay, so this is 42 high. Okay, so I want to make sure that this is going to be 42 height. No, I don't. Yeah, I do. This is going to be 42, and then it's going to move down a little bit. Yeah, that's what we want to do. So here we can see, okay, so if we zoom in on his feet, because we need to make sure that his feet doesn't move during the last bit. Okay, here sinks down, and he needs to sink down on the hip part. But so what we will do instead is to go to the root, and then even out that part of the animation. So I actually need to find out which part that was, which frame that was. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Which was the keyframe? It's gonna be from, yes, 29, frame 29. Oh, key 29. Okay, so looks like it's this one. So all the rest of the keys, they need to be flat, like this. Okay, and they need to be at this position. So sort of something like this. Maybe a little further up. I don't know. Probably doesn't make that much of a difference. So if we take a look at now at the animation, you can see now his feet during the last 3-4 frames, they are being stationary. Okay, so this is actually what we want. Now the collision capsule is going to stay out here, and that's because we haven't moved this in. So we also need to do something about that. If we take a look also at the animation, we need to assume or kind of imagine there's a wall here, and he can't move past through that wall. So we want to also make sure that this forward movement, which is on the y-axis, doesn't make him pass through the ledge. But let's take a look. We need to go back and forth maybe a little bit. So let's just, for now, say, okay, the motion that we have on his hips, for the X and the Y. For now, let's just copy them to the root. Whoop. I apparently only got the only one of them. Copy both of them to the, okay, there we go. So as you can see now, we have put the root directly under him, and he's still not still behind here. So we just need to go and put him back on the hips. So this is going to be, yeah, we need to zero these out. So this is going to be, and I think because there can be some sliding, I believe, and we have the same issue here. We can't really touch the keys after frame 28. So otherwise it's going to slide forward a little bit. But so this is not going to look good. So we need to do something kind of similar to this animation. So we want to zero everything out up until or flatten them out all up until this 28 keyframe. So flatten all this stuff out and move it down a little bit, something like here. Looks okay. And then we have the motion here, and then on the root we want to do the same, just opposite. So take this and then flatten this one out and move it up here. Something right about here, I think. I don't know if this does any difference. No, doesn't seem. Can you actually turn these? Oh, like that. Okay, so let's see if his feet are now sliding forward. They seem pretty stationary now. And I am not entirely sure what we should do with the x-axis right now, but one thing for sure, we can't have them on both of them. So I think actually I think we should just do just what like we did for all the other ones. So scrub forward to 28 and mark everything up until there, and flatten it out here on the hips, something like that, and move it up like this. So this is 7 minus 8.5 something, and then we have this motion, but on the root we will even this out. Okay, should be somewhere around here. Okay, let's see how that looks. Okay, so he's moving up, and well, he's still the root is still not in place. So what we want is to have this point down here to be at the at 0. So we can just parallel. No, not on the root. Sorry, on the hips. Translate. See, we want to have this to be all the way, so that when he ends his movement, we want this to be at 0. So we want to move him all the way back here about, so something like that. So that is going to be the position of his hips. So when he ends his motion, he's going to sit right on top of that hip bone. think this distance, the translate C, looks kind of like it's up in the air now. Because, oh yeah, I wanted this to be, I didn't do this. I want this to end at 42, not begin at 42. So there's a lot of manual trial and error in this, and I had to do this a lot of times, and I'm still not entirely sure if I'm doing this correct now. But let's see how this works now. So let's export all to raised hang to crouch, root motion, and take this into Unreal Engine and see how it looks. Import root skeleton. Okay, so here we have the animation. Let's check out what we have from the side. Okay, it looks kind of bad that she has a capsule between her legs. It doesn't really look like she's gonna land on the ledge. Okay, we'll see about that in a moment. Okay, so let's see if we can activate this animation. And I think I have to break this up into two because this is kind of taking more time than I expected. So inside our character blueprint, we have this place where we jump and where we try to grab for a ledge. Okay, so what we well, we don't want to. We have this state that we created last time, this climb state. Actually, let's test something out, because if we you can see if I keep pressing jump, he's gonna keep making this beginning, and that's because we don't have a condition here. So if we look at the try grab for ledge, and if this succeeds and he actually tries to grab for a ledge, then he's gonna set this jumping to ledge. So we can actually use this knowledge to put in a condition before we go into this one. So saying that we'll put a branch here first. And say depending on what our climb state is. So get this one and say, is this equal to not climbing? So actually saying, are we in any kind of climbing state, then we don't want to initialize a new climb. Then if we come up to here and see if maybe I'm gonna mash the space key now, but he's only gonna try and jump once. So what I want to say afterwards, if I am in a hanging state, because that's where the state we're eventually gonna get, then I want to try and climb this ledge. So if I am in hanging from ledge, then I want to call a new function called climb ledge to crouch. So let's make that one. Okay, let's call it climb ledge to crouch. So if we are not, and we want to do this, but we want to first check. So if we are in any kind of climbing state, then we also want to just make a check, are we in fact in the hanging from ledge state. So let's just do it this way, branch. This is not the best way to do it, but anyway, it's a way to do it. It's a way to do it. So, and then we want to try and climb climb the ledge to crouch. And what we want to do in here is actually for now just to start the animation. So as we have had several times before, get anim instance for the mesh, and we need a interface function for this. So let's make that new function. Call this climb to crouch. And I don't think we need any parameters for this, so let's just compile and go back and then call this. Okay. So for now, I think this is all we need. We could do something with the state, and there's all sorts of things to take into account with the camera and whatnot, but let's worry about that later. Inside our animation blueprint, we want to implement this new function, climb crouch. Actually, I think I need to make a dedicated episode on how to clean this up, so it will be easier to understand. So anyway, inside here, we want to play this montage. Montage play. Here we have it. And the montage we want to play is the animation that we just made. So did we import it? I don't think we did we? Oh yeah, we did. Okay. What did we call it? It was this one, wasn't it? Oh, we haven't saved for a long time. Let's duplicate and retarget this to our robot, our mannequin dude. Okay, because we need to go back and forth here a few times, I won't spend time moving it. But let's make a montage for this. So create an anim montage, and let's just not worry about the name. We'll fix that later on, and just leave this as it is. So let's say our animation, that there we wanna play this hang to crouch copy montage, and let's see how that looks. So if you come up here, and we are in a hang, and we press space, and he's gonna make this leap upwards, and that's actually looking pretty promising, I think. It's kind of hard to see anything, and you also notice that the collision capsule stayed on the ground. That's because we didn't enable root motion. So one thing first we're going to do is to set global dilatation to something lower, so we can see what is actually happening. And we also want to let's just do this now while we're at it. We want to set the climbing state, but we don't want to use this one. I almost forgot. We have this update climbing state function, because this is also going to tell the character blueprint that we are we are missing a state for this. We are in a climbing to crouch. Let's call it that. So let's add on our enumerator here a new state called is climbing to crouch. Okay. And set that inside our animation blueprint is climbing to crouch. So now both the animation blueprint and the character blueprint knows that we are climbing to a crouch. So that's good. So I want to enable root motion also. Where is my animation? I left it in the mesh folder here. So let's see, enable root motion. So that's gonna make him do this for something weird. Okay. And now we have slowed time down. So once we start the jump up here and press space, watch carefully, the collision capsule is going to follow with us upwards, but he's going to stop here and he's going to try to come over the edge, but he can't really, and then he's going to fall back to the hanging state. And the reason for this is that we don't have a way to get out of our animation inside our locomotion. We have this one saying we are in a braced hang idle state, and we can only come out of it if we are dropping from a ledge. But we don't want to drop from the ledge, we actually just want to go back to our idle run state, because now we assume that we are on the ground again. So we actually need one saying, okay, go back again here. And the criteria for this is if we, where is my climbing state here? If my climbing state is equals to is climbing crouch, then we are allowed to go back. So this should actually put us back in the correct state. Okay, so now he is he's kind of standing on the ground and he can't really move right now. Let's take one thing at a time. One thing we notice here is that he's floating. There's something with the camera also. I can't really. Oh, it's because I have it all the way down. But as you can see, the collision capsule is not all the way up, and you can also see his hand ended way too far down. So there are definitely some adjustments needed for this. And I think we have to, I haven't really figured out how to do this other than just trying back and forth. But one thing I know for sure is that we need to be, the root motion on the z-axis needs to be way higher, so it's gonna move him quite a bit higher. If we check the hip, how does that look? This is gonna be stationary here, so yeah, we need to move the root, stretch this. So I'm just gonna try some value, and I don't have my I have made this before, but I don't have it open right now, so I'm just gonna try my way. And sorry if this is gonna take a little bit more time, so I'm just gonna increment this by 50 units. So I'm gonna stretch this one out now, 50 units, so it's now ending up at 300, and export all, just overwrite the same one, and in my folder here we have the braced hang to crouch. I just re-imported. Okay, and I retargeted down here. It's gonna land here, and I'm gonna switch him out. Copy to. Oh, I have several copy to. No, okay. So this one up. Get rid of this one. So now we have switched the copy tool in, and I'm gonna enable root motion and see how that looks. So press space and see. Now it looks kind of like the hands got way too high, and now he's all the way up in the air. So that was apparently too much. So maybe something in between would be okay. But I also see another problem. So if we at this time pay attention to the hands. So once I press space, you will see the hands, they should be staying stationary. So I press space now. They move down and then up, and then they continue up, and that's because we moved the root. So we need to do something to compensate for this. So back to Maya. So this was apparently not the best way to do this. So let's take it back to, I don't know, something like 75, 275, something like here. And let's also take a look at what we can do to compensate for the hands, because okay, I think I know what we can do. Well, let's see. If you remember at the beginning, I just went ahead and flattened all this out. Actually, this needs to be starting at 96, and I didn't really do that. So I think that is what's causing this malfunction in this movement. So apparently not that one. This one, yes. Okay, so if we go back to the hips and then expand this again, so it hits 96 thereabout. Where is 96? Yeah, 96. Oh, I'm moving something. Don't like that. Okay, it's 96 now. Oh, close to. So, whoa. Okay, so let's move this one down so it's kind of straight. Okay. So we completely changed now the Z-axis movement. So this is gonna go from 96 and then gradually move up to 42, down to 42. And it still looks like the hands, you can see that actually on the animation here. They move a little bit. Oh shit, they actually move quite a lot. So we could do something else in order to fix this, because we need to check the animation again. So if we come back to this on the root, what we just expanded, and then put it back to 250, and see how the animation are, if the hands are moving now. They are moving a little bit, but this, we actually, if you watch closely in the beginning, we have this initially on the original motion animation from XMO. So we could maybe try and fix this somehow, but let's not worry about that. But let's do something else. We will check the moment where the hands are letting go. So thereabouts, they let go of the wall. So we are pretending that he's gonna make some kind of inhuman jump up. I wouldn't be able to do that, at least. So what we will do here is instead, and I don't know if there's an easier way to do this, but is to take these nodes here and let's say they need to end, and these we should be able to drag all the way up to 300, so it ends up at 300. Oops. Oh, I'm messing up the keys now. What? Wrong key, wrong key. Too many programs. Here, thereabout. And then, of course, the motion now is not going to be smooth. So keep hitting the wrong button. Let's take them one by one and then distribute them so it becomes sort of even. I guess it doesn't have to be precise in order to look trustworthy, but just even it out a little bit. Probably something like this. Okay, so now it's going to end at 300, and I just picked 300 for no particular reason. Just 300 was too high, I think. But now we also made 300 might be good actually, because we compensated on this and we moved the beginning up. So well, I have no idea actually. So this is a problem. So you can see now he's going to whoop, make a jump, and that's why he's going to land. Okay, let's try this out, see how it looks in game. Export all. And this is actually where I think, no, I was going to say, I was going to leave you guys, but I won't do that if this looks completely terrible and unusable. But if we get close to something, I think I will end this video, since it's going to take a lot of tweaking back and forth, and I don't have the exact numbers. I'm just showing the approach that I took to find a workable animation. Okay, so retarget, duplicate, and put it here and here, and so here we have copy 3 now, and that's the guy we want to use. Copy 3, we don't have copy 3. We want to go and at least enable this one, root, and there we have copy 3, and get rid of the old one, and see how this looks now. Okay, so jump, the hands are going way below still. And he's going to make the jump that we saw, and he's going to end too far up. Okay, so we do need to put him further down. Okay, so let's go back again to Maya and adjust once again. So apparently I went a little bit too much nuts with this. I think you would probably have to try and figure this out yourself, I'm afraid, because clearly this approach is not the best. So I think somewhere here, and then just take this and then mash it down to something like this, maybe. I don't know. Let's try it. Okay. And re-import. And retarget to Atom. And enable book motion. And adjust the montage. Well, I need to save this one. Delete. And test it out. Okay, so this puts him a little bit too high still, but well, let's adjust that a little bit. And also want to make one other little adjustment, because I see he's not kind of hitting the platform yet. So let's make this the last two changes that we will make for this video, and then I will leave you on your own to figure this part out yourself. So let's take it down something like this. So it's about a little bit, what is it, 296, let's pick that. And then the translate Y, let's zoom in on that, because actually we want to make him move forward even more. So let's do this trick again. We take this one and then we just drag him down 5 units more. Oh, that was maybe too early. Oh, I think that was too early. Why can we do that? So once he passed the ledge here, then he should. Okay, so we were actually just gonna cheat here and say, okay, so this stuff that we just evened out before, not that one apparently, this one, we'll just say fuck it, we'll drag it down to like, oops, what's going on, 50 units forward, and this one, and that's it, doesn't do anything. Okay, it annoys me when things don't line up. Okay, let's export it again, and import him again. Import, and we'll retarget, and we'll take the version 5, enable root motion, save, and go into the montage and check if there's a copy 5. Go, replace that one, and let's see how it looks. Okay, so jump, and well, he is not exactly in on the platform, and he's still a bit too high up. Anyway, you can continue tweaking this to your liking. One last thing that we might want to do is to take this deletion and set it down to see how bad is it really when you just look at it. So if we were to come over here and press jump, okay, did that look bad? You gotta ask yourself. Well, not really. And also we need to change something with the states, but I will do that in a later video. So let's take a look at it again from the side this time. Well, the camera kind of moves. So anyway, also to demonstrate what we will end up with, I have a different project that I will show here, which is kind of my my setup that I work with also. So this is almost the same setup, and here I have this animation where I have fixed it, so it looks a little bit better. So if I jump here, there's still a little bit of jumpiness somewhere, but this is what it's going to end up with. And I think maybe the jump in animation is also due to the fact that I have have this transition going on between when he comes to crouch and then he stands up. I haven't covered that, by the way, but that's maybe the reason. There's a little jump there going on. Anyway, let's take a little run around here and see what else can we do. Come up here and make a little jump. Oh no, we missed. Okay, glitch. Oh yeah, I haven't addressed that issue. We have an issue actually with what do you call it, brushes. So it appears that these line traces, when you make a line trace and the line trace starts inside. Demonstrate this. If we have a very tall box here, for example, and I jump up here, you can see that he is not able to grab onto it because the line trace is not able to tell us that we can grab onto something. But if we do the same on a static mesh, then that story is a different one. Here's that this initial line trace we make when we shoot the line trace down is not firing initially on the brushes, so but it will on the static meshes. So that's an issue that we need to address also later on, but that's another story. I just wanted to mention it because I just noticed it. I wasn't really aware that we had that issue that. Oh, okay, some work to do on this still. Anyway, this concludes the video for this time, and yeah, I hope that you enjoyed it, and stay tuned for more, since I will eventually continue this series when I get some more time on my hands, hopefully sooner than later. Until then, bye bye and have fun, and remember to like and subscribe if you think this is interesting and fun project to support. And also feel free to write questions if you have some, or can't get stuff to work, then maybe I can help. So until then, bye bye.